So my name is Thomas Corrigan, and I served on the Leamington team, which is actually Leamington, Kingsville, and the area.
And what kind of team was that?
It was a discipleship team, so that means that we were in one place for the entire year, and we were trying to build disciples, so we were actually journeying with the youth as they come to Christ. There's also a retreat team which runs retreats, but we were more like we were there for the journey for the year at least, yeah.
Ministry was hard, but it was worth it. All of the stuff that we did for those kids, it came back to us tenfold, just in like the fruits that we saw from the journey that they went on in their faith and the way that they grew closer to God. Yeah.
One of the parents wrote me a letter and said basically, my son has, particularly by your witness, he is way more on fire with his faith. He wants to, like, anything faith related, he like eats it up, sort of thing. And he wasn't like that way before. Just to have that Catholic witness to be like, it's a good thing to be Catholic.
Yeah, it was so cool journeying with them, especially with the small groups. So I ran a small group with my other teammate, Haley, and it was about 9. Like, it's quite a big, small group. It was just really beautiful to see their faith grow, and then like the relationships with each other grow as well. And one girl, we decided that as a little gift for them, we wanted to pray for a specific Bible scripture, a scripture for them. Yeah, I found this one scripture. I was actually gonna pick a different one. I was like, I need to put this one, I need to get rid of this one. And then we gave it to them at the end. And she told me that she'd actually been praying with this scripture, and that she felt like it'd be the first time, like confirmation almost, that God truly saw her through this scripture. Just I felt like God was actually speaking to me through this, because she'd been praying that she wanted to hear God's voice through this, and she's like, I feel like now I have heard him.
I feel like I've had a lot of youth on retreats this year that were atheist, or they didn't believe in God, but by the end of the retreat they kind of opened their heart to maybe a possibility that God did exist, which I found really beautiful, because I'm if they're opening their heart that a little bit, there's a seed that has been planted, and so then that can be watered in the future, and God can do massive things. I don't know, it just really impacts me a lot, because I'm wow, before today they didn't even want anything to do with God, and now they might have a relationship with God in the future. So.
Wow, my net year was pretty incredible, very life-changing, and I just grew so much as a person, learning how to trust God through every circumstance, and just surrendering myself to him and not worrying about what's to come or what could happen, and just fully letting go, and also just really learning what it is to be a woman, and just the beauty in being a woman, and a bride of Christ, a daughter, a sister, a mother, really having that community of other women on the team to support me and to love me and to encourage me to become that beautiful daughter of Christ.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I learned was how to love others and love myself. We watched this one Father Mike Schmidt's video with our youth group one night, and I'm it was supposed to be for the youth, but it touched me. It's so funny. But he explained you can either be a pipeline, or it's just God's grace, God's love just goes straight through you, the other people, or a bowl where you're filled up with God's grace, and then it just kind of flows out of you. I'm I think I've learned a lot in how to let myself be a bowl of God's love.
My biggest takeaway from my 2 years serving with Nat is that no matter what God calls you towards, if you say yes, he's got a plan. About 3/4 of the way through my second year, one of my buddies texted me, he's Chris, I'm applying for my PhD. And I think I just hit a moment where I was oh shoot, that could have been me. I could have been applying for a PhD right now. But instead I'm so far away from home doing this crazy thing. But then immediately afterwards it was no, this has been such an adventure and I've grown so much, and the Lord has rewarded me infinite times. Yeah, just whatever you give to the Lord, he's gonna give back so much, because I could have been there, that was my plan, but this plan was so much better.